They will blame the media for continuing to talk about the president's gap. They might even go in on SNL for keeping the jokes alive about it. But this weekend in Los Angeles, the president also kind of self-deprecating humor, discussed his performance slightly in the debate. But then he also talked about the American people perhaps pushing him forward, those same people who backed him in 2008. Let me play what he said.
Everybody here is incredible professionals. They're such great friends, and they just perform flawlessly night after night. I can't always say the same.
All right, well, that's the president last night, Michael. What do you make of the daily Gallup tracking poll that's showing? And we're still waiting on battleground polls to come out after the debate, but nevertheless, this is the first quick glimpse of what may have happened.
I'm anxious to see what went on in the Buckeye State. When you and I had a conversation last Wednesday, pre-debate, I said, Tamron, how this plays in living rooms in Ohio is the critical question, and we're soon to get that answer, but we still don't have it. I'm not surprised, and I'm sure you're not surprised by the national surveys, but we're beyond that. It's a function now of what's happening in 9 different states, and as you well know, people are already voting. So it's not a function of what's going to happen in a month. It is what is happening right now, because it's game on.
Absolutely, and speaking of game on, let me play that bite again where the president refers to 2008.
Back in 2008, everybody always remembers the victory, but they don't always remember the bumps in the road. We made all kinds of mistakes. We goofed up. I goofed up. But the American people carried us forward.
Chris, is the president having a hard time getting past that debate performance?
To some extent. I mean, because the coverage has been, more brutal than maybe the debate performance, to be honest.
But that was a choice line. He decided to refer to the debate.
I get it. I think part of it sometimes it gets in candidates' heads and they can't walk away. The reality is it's over. Yeah. Right now you got to start focusing on.
So is it in his head? Is that why he couldn't?
I don't know if it's in his head, but it's tough for them to to realize that's in the past. And to some extent, you've just got to forget about it. But, I think moving forward, you got another debate that's coming up. Right. The VP debate is going to be a critical debate. To some extent, I think this election has kind of changed. Again, it is now, I think, very debate-focused election, where the media and everyone else are going to be focusing on these 3 remaining debates, and that raises the stakes, I think, for everyone. But it also now gives the president an opportunity to go into that next debate where he's going to be, debating Governor Romney and really put his feet to the fire and be really aggressive about holding his record and his contradictions, to account.
And I want to get Michael and Jonathan in. I want to play Governor Romney also still reflecting on the debate. We understand why that would be the case, but let's take a listen to what he said and how he put it.
Mr. President, you're entitled as a president to your own airplane and to your own house, but not to your own facts. Look, I got 5 boys. I'm used to people saying something that's not always keep on repeating it and ultimately hoping I'll believe it. But that is not the case.
Okay, that's not the bite. Okay, whatever. The president, basically, he was talking about the fact that, reflecting with a big group of people at a rally about how well he'd done in the debate. The bottom line, Jonathan, are you worried about overconfidence at all, depending on what the battleground polling shows in the next 48 hours, 72 hours from now?
Now, I think the polling is very encouraging. I mean, the 5-point bump we see in Gallup. Another thing that's important is in the George Washington University poll that came out today. It shows that Republican enthusiasm is much higher than on the Democratic side. And this is important because Gallup is still surveying registered voters, not likely voters. They make that switch at some point in October. We don't know exactly when. But when they do, I mean, my guess is that Romney is nominally ahead nationwide. I think you're right, though. It's really going to come down to these swing states and the polling that we're going to see in the next couple days.
So, Michael, what's your take? Nominally ahead. That's at least Jonathan's prediction.
Nationally, it wouldn't surprise me, but that's not kept pace, or the swing states have not kept pace from Romney's perspective with what's going on in those national surveys. Hopefully tomorrow we know about the Buckeye State, then we really know where this thing stands, because without Ohio, it's a very difficult path for Governor Romney.
A lot of moving parts, foreign policy to, of course, breaking it down to the battlegrounds. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Jonathan, Bobby, as a pleasure always. Chris, Michael, we'll see you. Thank you. And here we go again. The vice presidential debate is just a couple of days away. Are both sides